Hi and welcome to Love Doing Yoga. It's great to have you along. We unfortunately are having problems with our internet again, so we're not quite live, although I'm recording this on Wednesday and it's a beautiful day. Hopefully it's still a beautiful day at 6 o'clock this evening. But anyway, it's lovely to have you along, and today is all about abs and core. So be prepared to work a bit. As always, listen to your body throughout the practice. At any time, if something doesn't feel right, just stop, wait, and then join back in with us again when you're ready. And I'll give you different modifications you can use on the different poses, which will hopefully help to ease some of them. So, without further ado, let us get going. Just lying down on the mat, finding yourself a nice, comfortable space. And lying whatever way feels right for you today. So maybe with your knees bent or the soles of your feet touching, or perhaps with your legs out long, whatever feels right for you. As we begin to move into the present, into the now. Setting aside everything that's going on in your life and in the world so far today. For the next hour, you have no roles, no responsibilities, nothing to do but connect your mind with your body through your breath. And as you begin that journey inwards, let's just tune into our senses. Your sense of sound. Listen to the sounds around you and just let them drift through you. Allow them to fill you, to become part of you in their constant motion. And allow your attention to move towards your sense of smell. Noticing the smells in the room. And again, allowing them to fill you, to become part of you. And turning your attention now to your sense of sight. Noticing that screen at the back of your eyelids and what it presents to you. The colors and the shapes, the movement. Just allow it to be. And moving that attention now to your sense of touch, noticing the connection points with the mat, the temperature of your skin, the texture of your clothes. Let that fill your whole being. And allowing that inner gaze to drop towards your heart center. as you start to breathe and connect with that breath, breathing in through your nose, into your belly, and out through your nose. Allowing the belly to fill as you inhale and to contract as you exhale. And just beginning to count the inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that little moment of suspension before you begin your exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another moment of suspension before beginning that inhale again. And then just seeing, can you make your exhale a count or two longer than your inhale? Let's take 5 breaths here where you're counting to yourself on your inhale and your exhale. And taking one more breath here. And just making your way up onto your forearms. So you're resting here with your elbows directly under your shoulders. And we're just going to lift the legs up so you can bend the knees. And let's just start to crisscross them. Good. Trying to keep that focus on the breath so you're still able to breathe easy as you do this. If you find it challenging, you can bend the knees more. That will take a little bit of the pressure off. If you want a little bit more, you can begin to straighten the legs a bit more. Good. And slowing it down. And coming to stillness, letting those feet come to the earth. Lowering your back onto the earth and hugging your knees into your chest. And just taking a moment here to gently massage your lower back. And as you're lying in this position, we're just going to practice a couple of what we call Kabali breaths, but we're just going to do them one at a time. They can often be done in very quick succession. But it's really helpful when you're doing core work. So inhaling through your nose. And as you exhale, gently lift your pelvic floor. Bring your belly button in and up. And bring the sides of your waist in. And then release it. And let's try that again. Inhaling through your nose. And on that exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up, bring the sides of the waist in. And notice what that does. It really starts to engage the core from the inside. So we'll be working on the core from the outside, but using the breath to build it from the inside just gives it more solidity. Good. And from here, let's begin to rock a little bit and see, can you sit up and come down and sit up and come down, and just getting into a rolling motion here. So you're letting physics take over. Good. And next time you're up, stay up. And let's slowly lower back a little bit. Keep the chin tucked in and come up. And slowly lowering back. And come up. Bringing that breath into it. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Good, and the more you want to get from this, the lower you can go. Let's do 2 more. Good, and just hugging those knees into the chest. Making your way, rolling over onto your side to make your way to standing at the top of the mat. And just checking in on your alignment here. So looking down at the feet, are they in a nice straight line, equal weight across the feet, front and back, side to side. So like the 4 corners of your feet have equal weight, just gently pressing into the ground with your big toe. And then from there, moving upwards, knees over the ankles, hips over the knees, shoulders over the hips, chin parallel with the floor. Nice long neck. Turning the palms outwards, just noticing what that does, how that suddenly opens up the chest. Let's take 3 breaths here. Again on that exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, bringing everything into the center. Good, and raising the arms up. Let's bring them, clasp them above the head. Just move your feet out so they're about two hip widths apart. And we're gonna chop some wood. So bend the knees as you go down. We're gonna swing down, letting the arms come between the legs and come all the way up. Let's do it 10 fairly quickly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Good. Let's try 5 nice and slowly. Coming up really slowly. 1. 2, inhaling on the down. And exhaling, lifting that pelvic floor, bringing the belly button in and up as you rise. 3, good, just 2 more. It's a different exercise when it's been done slowly, isn't it? And just 1 more. Good. Allowing the arms to come down by your sides, bringing your toes together and heels a little bit apart. Putting the hands on the hips, let's sit back into our chair. Good, and from here, bringing the hands into prayer, elbows out so they're in a straight line with each other. And let's twist to the right, putting that left elbow onto the back of the right leg. And allowing that left hand to come to the floor. Let's raise that right hand up, lifting your gaze to the ceiling. Good. And from here, let's step that right leg back and bring the arm up over the head. If you find this very challenging, you can bring your left elbow onto your left knee. And bringing both hands down by the side, stepping that right foot up, keeping the elbows out, keeping the knees bent. Let's take a twist to this side. Good, and bringing the right hand down, lifting up the left hand. Lovely. And stepping that left leg back, bringing that left hand up over the ear, and again, if you want, putting the elbow onto that right leg. So we get a nice long stretch. And both hands on the floor, lifting that foot up. Good, keeping those knees bent. Hands in prayer. Let's take another twist to the right. Good, and take a breath. Remembering to engage that core on the exhale. Allowing the left hand to come to the floor, lifting up that right hand. Take a breath. Lovely. Bringing the right hand down. Just step that right leg back, keeping the left knee bent and raising that right arm up over the ear. And take a breath. You've got a nice open chest here. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping that right foot up, bending the knees into your chair, hands together, elbows out, taking a twist to the left, and taking a breath. And right hand down, lifting up that left hand, nice open twist here, and take a breath. Bringing that left hand down, stepping the left leg back, right hand, arm onto your right leg as we lift that left arm up over the ear and take a breath. And bringing both hands down, either side of the foot, stepping that left foot up to meet the right, and coming all the way up. Good, bringing those hands into prayer. We're going to take a little run through a couple of sun salutes to get us moving a bit more. If you know it, go at your own pace, do your own style. If Chaturanga is in your practice, go ahead and do that. If you're a little unsure or you want to follow me, please do. We'll take it nice and slow. Raising those arms up and sweeping down into a forward fold, gently bending the knees. And halfway lift, nice long spine here, keeping the gaze on the floor in front of you. And forward fold. Let's step that right leg back as far as it can go, dropping the right knee, open out the foot, keeping this left knee over the ankle as we rise up into a low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into your plank. Fingers open nice and wide here, a little gentle bend in the elbows. And keeping that gaze on the mat, let's come down through knees, feet, chest, and roll through into a cobra. Good. Keeping that gaze on the mat as you push up through your tabletop into our first dog. Take your first dog easy here as we push the hips back towards the back of the mat, keeping the knees bent, the
heels up off the floor and pedal out your legs until you come to your point of stillness, wherever that is. What we really want in this pose is a nice long spine. If that's achieved even with your knees on the floor and your head down, that's fine. But let's go for that lovely long spine, turning your gaze towards your belly button. Okay, now we want to get this right leg up to the top of the mat. And you've got lots of choices. You can come down on all fours and step it through, or you can step that right leg to wherever it goes and then help it the rest of the way, or you can just step it straight through. So whatever is working for you today, there's always choices. Dropping that left knee, open out the foot and rise up into your low lunge. Soften the shoulders here and hands down either side of the foot to step that left foot up to meet the right. Bend those knees as you make your way all the way up. Good. Let's take that on the other side. Raising the arms up and coming forward into a forward fold. Halfway lift, nice long spine. And forward fold. Let's step that left leg back, dropping the knee. Open the foot, coming up into your low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot into your plank. Good. Coming down through knees, feet, chest, into cobra, and pushing up through tabletop. Curl those toes, push the hips back before you start to come up, and then rise up into your downward dog. And then getting that left foot up to the top of the mat by whatever means works for you today. Dropping that right knee, open out the foot and lift the arms up. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping that right foot up to meet the left. Bend the knees to come all the way up. Good. Let's take it again, once on either side. Raising those arms up. And let's open them out wide this time to sweep down into your forward fold. Halfway lift. And forward fold, stepping that right leg back, dropping the knee to come into your low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping into your plank and coming down through knees, feet, chest, and cobra. Pushing up through tabletop, curling the toes, hips back as we come up into our downward dog. And getting that right foot up to the top of the mat, dropping that left leg for your low lunge. And hands down either side, stepping up, bend those knees to come all the way up. Good. Hands touching at the top, sweeping out again into forward fold. And halfway lift. Forward fold, left leg goes back into your low lunge. And moving into your plank. Good. Taking a round of breath here. Keeping that gaze on the mat as you come down through knees, feet and chest. And get into your little back bend, elbows in. Keeping the gaze downwards, pushing up through your tabletop into your downward dog. And then stepping that left leg up to the top as you rise up into your low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping that right foot up to meet the left. Bend the knees as you come all the way up to the top. Good, well done. Hopefully you're feeling nice and warmed up, ready to take on the world. Let's lift those arms up and come into a forward fold. And from here, just make our way down to tabletop. And let's check in with our tabletop here. So we want a nice long spine. from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. So we need to keep the gaze on the mat so that the neck is nice and long here. Fingers open nice and wide. Hips over knees. Feet straight out behind you, so when you look down you can't see them. You've got your legs hip distance apart. Little micro bend in those elbows. And the crease of your wrist in line with the top of the mat. Good. And from here, let's lift that left hand up. And let's stretch that right leg back, keeping the toes on the ground for now. And we're going to bring that right leg up to the top of the mat. So you'll probably have to lift your right hand. If you do, that's fine. Then let this left hand come down as we move up into a curtsy. Good. And let's come back down to all fours. Let's do that again. Left hand out, right leg back, stepping the right leg through and coming up into a curtsy. Good. One more time. From here, left hand out, right leg back, stepping the right leg through, coming up into a curtsy. And this time with both hands on the ground, let's just lift that left leg up. Good. And step it back down into your curtsy and come all the way down. Great stuff. Let's add one more thing to it. Left hand out, right leg back, stepping it through, coming up into your curtsy, both hands down as you lift that leg up. And let's step that leg back as far as we can. Good. So we're in a runner's lunge, lifting the chest up like we're about to sprint forward. And then from here, hopping that left foot forward to come up to a warrior one, squaring up the hips. Lovely. And bringing both hands down and moving back to all fours. Good. Let's take that on the other side. Right hand out, left leg back, stepping that left leg forward. Oh gosh, a bit tighter on this side. As we come up into our curtsy and making our way all the way down. Let's try that again. Right hand out, left leg back, stepping the left leg through, right hand in between, right leg behind. Good. And making your way all the way down. Right hand out, left leg back. And let's step that left leg through. Come into your curtsy, putting both hands onto the floor, shifting that weight into the left leg as you lift up the right leg. Good. And coming back down to all fours. Right hand out, left leg back, pushing out through the heel. And stepping that left leg in, coming into your curtsy. Both hands down, shifting the weight onto that left leg as you lift up the right leg. And then stepping that right leg back behind you. Walk this left foot out to have a nice hip distance here as we come into our runner's lunge. So lifting up through the chest, almost like you've got a whole arc going on here in front of you. Good. And hopping that right leg in to come up into your warrior one. Good. And hands down either side of the foot to make your way back to tabletop. Well done. And from here, curling those toes, pushing back to come up into your downward dog. Taking 2 breaths here. And moving from here into a plank. A nice high plank, good. We're going to take 3 breaths here. And if at any time you find it a struggle, you can always bring your knees to the ground and try to keep the chest still up off the ground. Good, and if you'd like a little bit more here, you can come down onto the forearms. And let's take 3 more breaths here. Keeping that gaze on the mat in front of you. Remember on that exhale, lift the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. And then allow the knees to come to the floor. And we come into a nice Sphinx pose. Good, taking 3 breaths here. Lovely. And pushing up through tabletop. And let's just do a couple of cat-cows to loosen out that spine. So we're going to tilt the pelvis, dip the belly, open the chest and raise the gaze. And then moving into your cat as you curl the tailbone all the way through to the crown of your head. And once again, opening up the chest, lifting the gaze, and curling through from the tailbone. One last time, inhaling into your cow. And exhaling into your cat. Lovely. And coming to stillness. There, stretch that right leg out and that left hand out, but this time we're going to lift that right leg up to hip height and we're going to draw everything into the center and then push it out. Drawing it in and pushing it out. Good, one more time. Drawing it in and pushing it out. Lovely. Coming on to all fours once again as we switch it to the other side, pushing that left leg back, right hand out, lifting the leg up to hip height and drawing it all in and pushing it out and drawing it in and pushing it out and once again drawing it all in and pushing it out. Good. Coming back onto all fours, and from here we're going to move back into our plank. Taking 3 breaths here. And always you have the option to come onto your knees here. Just remembering to use that breath as you exhale. And now let's move that right hand to the center. Take your left foot and put it to the center here with the knee bent. And lifting that arm up. Good, keeping a micro bend in that right elbow. If you'd like something a little bit more here, you can always put one foot on top of the other. For a full side plank, but we want to be lifting this hip up away from the floor. Good. One more breath. And if you're in full side plank, just step your left leg across and allow that arm to come over. If you're in half side plank, put your left hand down, step that left leg across, and then open it out into a wild child pose. Lovely, one more breath. And making your way back to your plank. Just bring those knees to the floor and feet. Lower yourself all the way down, forehead on the floor, arms straight out in front of you. And take 3 breaths here. Good, and making your way up into a plank to take it to the other side. That's it. Keeping that micro bend in the elbow. Let's take 3 breaths here. Remembering on that exhale, lift the pelvic floor, bring that belly button in and up, bring the sides of the waist in. Just on the exhale. 1 more breath. And putting that left hand into the center, turning over onto the side of that left leg, either bending that right knee, putting it in the center, or come into a full side plank, lifting that hip up, away from the floor. Good. 1 more breath. If you're in full side plank, just step that right leg across and bring the arm out. If you're in half plank, bring both hands down, step that right leg across and open it out. Lovely. 1 more breath. And making your way back into your plank. And lowering yourself all the way down. Good. Allowing those arms to come out nice and long. One more breath here. And bringing those hands now either side of the chest. Check in with your elbows. We don't want them out, we want them in towards your center. And from here, we're going to lift up into a cobra. Light on the hands, engage the core, push into the floor a little with your pubic bone as you lift your chest up off the floor, keeping that gaze on the mat. Good. Really strong core here to help you lift up and lower it down. Good. We're going to lift it up again and we're going to hold it for 3 breaths. So once again, lifting up. Use the breath to help you inhale as you lift up, keeping that gaze on the mat in front of you. Good, 1 more breath. And lowering it all the way down. Good stuff. And from here, pushing up to come all the way down onto your back. Good, lowering it down. And let's just hug those knees into the chest as you take a little massage here on your back. And then coming to stillness, letting the arms come down by your side. We're going to just raise those legs straight up. So you can let them hang here, or if you want a little bit more, you can flex those feet and feel how that just brings that little bit of extra into the hamstrings and the calves. Good, letting everything slow down. Most of your hard work is done. Let the shoulder blades rest flat on the floor.
If you have a wall, it's really nice to be able to just put your legs up against the wall. Really good for you to have all your blood flowing in the completely opposite direction to what it's used to. And it's so good for your circulation and also for your lymphatic system. Good, 2 more breaths. Bending those knees. Let's just do a double cross of the legs if you can. So if your right leg is over your left, let's just roll over to the left side and put both of your arms out into a T, turning your head to the right. Good, breathing into this. And 1 more breath. And unfurling the legs here, coming back to the center, and let's this time put the left leg over the right. To do a double cross, if you find it hard to do a double cross, a single cross is absolutely fine. And actually, the more you bend your legs, the easier it is to do that double cross. And let's just roll over to the right, turning your gaze to the left. As you really let everything stretch out. Unraveling the legs here to come back to the center. Check in on your feet. Do they feel like they're in a straight line? Are the legs hip distance apart? Bringing your hands down by your sides. We're going to lift up into a bridge. So very slowly tilting that pelvis before lifting it up towards the ceiling. Good. And 1 more breath here. And gently lowering it all the way down. Good. This time, let's lift those arms behind the head. So they're on the floor behind you, and now let's lift up into a bridge. Good. Keeping those hips moving up towards the ceiling. One more breath. And gently lowering it down, bringing those arms down by your sides, hugging the knees into the chest. And just take a little roll here. Good, letting the shoulders come flat on the floor and allow the feet to drift to the mat. And let me just take this opportunity to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed that practice and that you got to connect well with your core. If you like what we do, we would love your support. You can become a patron for just €5 a month, and you get access to all of our practices at a time that suits you. So whenever suits, plus a couple of short bonus practices thrown in there. We are back here free and live on Friday at 6 o'clock, hopefully live.
And hopefully we will see you then. If you're doing our July challenge, you are so nearly there. So keep going. You're doing great. And now let's just move to really what's the most important part of the yoga practice, and that is Shavasana. That is the time that just allows all of that movement, all of that work you've done to integrate into your body, to become part of its memory, and to get the full nourishment and goodness that you have provided to your body. It just allows it to consume it. Turning the palms upwards as you turn inwards and begin to totally let go. Letting go your toes, the soles of your feet, the tops of your feet. Letting go your ankles and heels, your shins and calves. Letting go your knees, the tops of your thighs, your hamstrings, your glutes, your whole pelvic area. Just let it go. And letting go your belly, the small of your back, the back of your rib cage, the front of your rib cage. Letting go your chest and shoulder blades. Letting go your armpits and upper arms, elbows and forearms. Letting go your wrists, palms of your hands, backs of your hands and fingers. The whole of your body. Just let it go. Letting go the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, jaws, chin, lips and tongue. And just let it all go. And connecting here with the breath as you breathe in through your nose, into your belly and out through your nose. Taking a moment here of gratitude to your body, to yourself for doing this practice, and to all of us for practicing together, and for whatever you have to be grateful for in your life today. And with that focus on the breath, connecting with your inner self, your true nature. Take yourself to your favorite place. Find a space to sit and just enjoy.